Hey, what is going on, Buffalo Bills Mafia? It's your boy, Buffalo Burn, coming at you live. I appreciate y'all bearing with me the slightly delayed start time. I was a fool to think that the Rochester rush hour traffic would halt for the post-free agency mock draft 3.0. Man, we got to come up with a better name for these mocks. But yes, mock draft 3.0 from post-free agency. It's our sixth mock of this lovely offseason for the Buffalo Bills. I say that with a little bit of sarcasm in my throat. Mock 3.0 post-free agency mocks, man, off to a rough diction start. Mock 6.0 of the offseason from Buff Mafia _716. I'm Buffalo Burn. I'm going to be taking you on this journey with me here this afternoon, this lovely Friday Eve. While the Bills are a week and about 4 hours-ish plus from being on the clock. And I can't fucking wait, Mafia. I'm so excited. I see some people joining. Allie, CJ and I are watching. Love that. Let's go, CJ. Matthew Salzberg, what's up, brother? What's going on? Matt, reading a few comments here. If you're watching this live, welcome. If you're watching this after the fact, welcome all the same. I appreciate you all. I got the burps to start this video. Appreciate y'all bearing with me. My different setup for now. New apartment. We're going to have a Steezy Bills setup very soon in the near future for you, Mafia. But for now, I've got my boys, Josh and Dalton, up here rocking with me for this mock draft. I should also show what is probably going to be the center point of the video for the majority of this live and after the fact. We've got this is the simulator that we're using this year. Big shout out to Pro Football Network Mock Draft NFL Mock Draft Simulator. Okay, so this is what we're going to be using for this mock draft simulation. Mafia, I have not had anybody come to me and be like, you're using that simulator, why don't you use this? I think the only one that I hear sometimes is the Pro Football Focus simulator. That one makes you pay for it. Ain't nobody got time for that. I ain't got time for that. I guess this is kind of what I got there. Spaceman _27 says Friday Eve. Never heard Friday called that. Love it. I started doing that about a year ago, and because you gotta find the positivity in everything. I think Thursday is a day that can sometimes drag. Call it Friday Eve. Boom, you're rocking and rolling. Love those candles. I appreciate that side clown. All right. So, Mafia, before I jump into this mock draft, and I am eager, anxious, whatever you want to call it, to get into this first pick in the first round, whether that is at 28, hint, hint, or whether that's somewhere else trading around, I should recap notable offseason additions and subtractions, and then kind of our need list. And that's not saying that we're drafting for need. Let me point that out. And I'm going to have a couple of ground rules here for this mock draft I'm going to run through in conjunction with this. Okay, so let's first just get out of the way, though. Losses: Stephon Diggs, Tre'Davious White, Jordan Poyer, Mitch Morse, Gabe Davis. You could probably fit it on 20 hands, okay? A lot of losses this offseason. Those are just some of the big major ones. Just name a few. Additions: Matt Collins, Curtis Samuel. There have been additions at wide receiver. I know some people don't want to hear that, okay? It's not like we did nothing, though, in free agency. Other additions: Nicholas Moreau, linebacker depth. Casey Toohill, defensive end depth, special teams player. Nicholas Moreau, same thing can be said for him. Matt Collins, same thing can be said for him. Why do I bring this up? Because, Mafia, there's a lot of panic around this fan base, I believe, right now, who thinks that the entire 53-man roster was released. And that's just simply not the case. They did bring back guys like A.J. Epinesa, like Daquan Jones, like Ty Johnson. Yeah, you lose a Leonard Floyd, a name I forgot to mention, but a name I think a lot of us have conditioned ourselves to believe was going to go somewhere else. But then you bring back a guy like David Edwards, which allows you to trade a Ryan Bates, okay? So KJ Hamler, Big Lamb, GFXR is saying at wide receiver. Sure, So that's a nice little overview into where we're at as a franchise, as a roster. I don't think there's any cause for people to be conditioned into we need to sell the farm for X player or we need to trade back to get even more picks. I don't think one extreme is necessarily right. I think what this draft is going to come down to, and this might sound like I'm just boiling it down to simple, because this is the case for a lot of drafts, is how the board ends up falling for Buffalo. That's just what it's going to come down to with where we're picking. If we were a team like the Giants, who was sitting at 6th overall and had this whole offseason to game plan, who's that top end be a little bit more cut and dry, The Bills have been a good team as of late. They're not picking up there. We should be celebrating that as a fan base. I think everybody gets so pissed about the heartbreaking playoff losses and they don't look more big picture. It's like, guys, there's a reason why we're not able to restack. This isn't the drought years where we were finishing around or below 500 and stuck in the mid-teens and not going anywhere. We have a Josh Allen. Some hesitation in my voice. We have a Sean McDermott, okay? We've got two new young coordinators in Joe Brady and Bobby Babich who, being talked about it in the presser today, are very involved in this process and are going to be picking some of these players, whether it be college ties in the LSU case of Joe Brady or whether it be something else. Maybe Bobby Babich is loving this linebacker and he's got to have him. Those are all factors that we're going to be taking into account when executing this mock draft 6.0 of this offseason, 3.0 of this post-free agency. I appreciate you all watching here live. If you're watching this after the fact, we are going to jump right into it, Mafia. Okay, so Buffalo Bills, 7-round mock draft, 10 picks to work with. Spoiler alert, I'm going to try not to use every pick, okay? Because I just don't think the Bills are going to. I just don't think they're going to. I think that they don't want to pay 10 rookies. I think they'd rather pay 7 or 8 a little bit better rookies. And the way you do that, you part with some later draft capital to your advantage. You move around. Some rules that I have with these mock drafts. So I mentioned that this was the 6th mock draft of this free agency for this account, for Buff Mafia _716 Buffalo Burn. All right. A rule that I carry with all my mocks is I don't ever draft the same player twice. I just don't. I then count that player after I've drafted them in a mock. They're off the board for me in future mocks. So for instance, and this goes for, I've got a draft guy, shout out David York, who does several mock drafts for us on this account every offseason. He is 2 of these mocks he's responsible for. So if you want to be pissed that I cannot take Ladd McConkey or Troy Franklin in the first round, you can thank David York for that because he took those guys as his first pick. And I say first pick because trades are a part of this. David York, my man, he traded back and ended up with Ladd McConkey at the beginning of round 2. For the purposes of sticking with my rule, whatever, Ladd McConkey, Troy Franklin off the board. All right, other guys that are off the board for me, regretfully, Xavier Legette, one of my personal faves. I am a big Xavier Legette guy, probably more than most. He's off the board for us. Byron Murphy, defensive tackle out of Texas, is going to be off the board for us going into this draft, as well as the Mafia fave, Brian Thomas Jr. Yes, Mafia, if you came here to watch me draft Brian Thomas Jr., I regret to inform you I have already done so. If you want to check out that post or any of the other posts concerning some of the guys that I just mentioned, you can do that. They're on our account. You can either scroll back or you can go to the '24 draft highlight section in our story. Check out some of mine or David York's write-ups on those guys and why they make sense as the Bills' first pick. But that being said, guys, we're going to enter mock draft 6.0 overall, 3.0 post-free agency. I was stuttering over my words incredibly at the beginning of this live stream. I'm just going to call it a whiz because a lot of these are mouthfuls, but now I got it down, so we're rocking and rolling. We're going to pivot to the big board. Ooh. So, again, shout out Pro Football Network. Again, if anybody has a better free simulator for me to run a mock with, I'm all ears. Go for it. I happen to like this one because of the trade feature, because it's accurate to the picks. I think that's, that might seem easy, but I'm never doing one of these mocks and then someone's DMing me, wait, they don't pick there, they pick there. They're accurate there. And overall, it's relatively realistic. I like their write-ups on the prospects. They have decent write-ups on the prospects. I don't agree with everything in the write-ups all the time, but it's something, it's a solid engine simulator. With that in mind, Mafia, this is a simulation, okay? And I'm adding some wrinkles to the simulation by ruling out some of those guys that are off the board for me already. But I don't want you to take this as, oh my God, this is totally what's going to happen. I will say, given that it's a simulation, you'll run it a certain amount of times. And I should preface for the people that are all in on wide receiver round 1, I would like to think that I identify with that group. There's a few players, Mafia, that if the big 3 plus BTJ are gone, Brian Thomas Jr. are gone, I like Xavier Worthy, I like A.D. Mitchell. But I'll be honest, they're not the prospects that Johnny Newton out of Illinois, defensive tackle, are, in my opinion. They're not the prospects that, even with the medicals, a edge, Laiatu Latu, out of UCLA are, in my opinion. So there's a few rush to the podium guys. And another guy that's teetering on that boundary for me, just in advance, I'll tell you right now, is Cooper DeJean out of Iowa. Kool-Aid McKinstry, you can maybe put in that classification, both corners, both defensive backs. And then unknown John says, if Latu is there, we take him. And I think that even the people that are on, and this is where I want to be a voice for the Mafia, in you can still be round one wide receiver all the way, but recognize that there's some guys that for whatever reason could fall down the draft boards that you just simply have to take if you're the Bills. Jared Verse out of Florida State. Some people have him going 8th overall to the Falcons. If he's anywhere remotely near 28, that's a trade-up guy. I think the same could be said for Latu or Johnny Newton. So I'm looking for a wide receiver, Mafia. I get it. As far as needs, I didn't even mention the needs. Wide receiver is number one, and that's a pretty big gap after that. That said, there are still defensive linemen that I think could be beneficial to the Bills in this mock. There's still offensive linemen that I think could be beneficial to the Bills. I think safety is still a need. A corner, linebacker depth, even with Nicholas Moreau. Kicker and punter in the later rounds. I'll get into that. But anyway, Mafia, let's kick it off. Let's get rocking here. Too much talking, bro. Come on. All right, so I do like the pause feature too. These are the things that I forgot to mention. Let's take a look at this real quick. Caleb Williams, Drake May, Jaden Daniels. That could very well fall that way. I know that some people think that the Sam Howell being traded from Washington signals Jaden Daniels going there because the Drake May versus his former teammate at UNC quarter competition could be weird. I would not take much away from that. That was basically just a pick swap, and Washington's clearly knowing in that move that Sam Howell's not their guy. I don't think that's going to affect who's ultimately taken here. Drake May, Jaden Daniels, Caleb Williams, don't really care. It doesn't affect the Bills. One thing I will say, and then I'll keep moving here, is you are rooting, Mafia, for quarterbacks to be taken. You're rooting for tight ends, Brock Bowers, to be taken. And you're rooting for offensive linemen to be taken in this first round. Because I really do think that those are the three biggest areas that the Bills are pretty set. I think offensive line's the one where you could kind of point to. I had someone at work come in, sitting at the bar, 10 a.m. He was sober as could be. All right, so I knew he wasn't screwing with me. He says we should go center first round, running back second round. I just want to put that out there. There's people out there that think that that's the play. Maybe it is. Maybe that's what Brandon Bean is thinking. I just think that goes to show you. That's a diehard Bills fan giving me his honest take. I look at him, I'm like, dude, if that happens, if they take Jackson Powers Johnson, I believe that's his name, the number one center prospect in this draft, nailed it, Jackson Powers Johnson, JPJ. I'll be shocked, but man, that's the NFL draft. Who knows? So, Marvin Harrison on the board, 4th overall. I'd be shocked if that's not the pick. Let's see. All right, cool. See ya. Bye. Mafia can kiss that goodbye. We're not trading up to 4. That pick is way too valuable for all the quarterback-needy teams. We're not doing that to draft a wide receiver. I'm just telling you right now. He's gone. Neighbors and Odunze, still very real trade-up candidates. That's all I'm going to say. There goes Neighbors. Joe Alt, not too surprising. Odunze still on the board. Offensive tackle gone. Dallas Turner gone. I think I mentioned him. That's as expected. And this should be Brock Bowers. Not Brock Bowers. Interesting. This is almost definitely J.J. McCarthy. There he goes. All right, so 12th overall. Top 3 receivers are gone. Mafia, I don't see us trading up for anybody else to 12th overall. I will say really quick, if the Bills were to move up for a receiver, most likely it being Rome Odunze, I think 12th overall to the Broncos is the most realistic spot that could happen. I think that wouldn't cost as much as getting into the top 10. 9th overall to Chicago is a possibility. You see, they took Rome in this mock. Maybe they feel good about Keenan Allen and DJ Moore, and they like their wide receiver situation. They take an offensive lineman or something there. Maybe they take Telis Fuaga. Maybe the Jets take Bowers. Then the Vikings take McCarthy. Rome Odunze on the board at 12. I'll tell you right now, Mafia, next year's first, next year's second round pick, and maybe like 1 or 2 late round picks, like 6th or 7th rounders this year, that could get you to 12, no question. All right. That's what it would cost. It would cost next year's first, next year's second, not the one that we got from Houston. I'm talking the later second. So there's some, okay, that's better. And then maybe a late round or 2 this year to get up to 12. That's what it would cost to get Rome Odunze if he was still on the board there. Do I think that's impossible? Not at all. Do I doubt him being there at 12? Yes. I think he's too good for a team like the Bears to pass up. I think if they pass him up, as much as I like Brock Bowers, I think he probably gets taken before Brock Bowers at 10. Although, who knows? He's the 9th overall prospect. Let's keep it moving. Brock Bowers, there he goes. Amarius Mims, Jared Verse. Wait a minute, what? I said Jared Verse earlier. I was the one I was talking about if he fell. Him or Dallas Turner. I don't see either of these edge players getting outside of the top 14, but I have seen mocks where one of them, mainly based off of position and need, does fall to the 20s. We'll see. I don't think it's happening, but sure enough in this mock, they don't. Colts going corner. Terrion Arnold, my roommate, a Colts fan. Shout out Noah. You got Terrion Arnold. Go get his jersey. All right. J.C. Latham, Troy Fatanu. There goes BTJ. So BTJ at 18. Mafia, I feel bad talking this much in the first round. I promise I won't do this for every pick. It's the first round, though. I think if Brian Thomas Jr. gets to 20, the Bills start making calls. That's what I think. Here he goes to 18 to the Bengals. I'm sure that's a stab in the hearts for a lot of Bills fans. Whatever. What are you going to do? Welcome if you're joining live. We will have this posted to the account after the fact. This is our mock 6.0 overall, mock 3.0 post free agency. Let's see who's two again. If this is Xavier Worthy, that'd be classic. Cooper DeJean, nope. All right, pause. Let's see who's on the board, because this is trade up range for the Bills. I think 5 picks or less. Bean is like whatever. Awesome player right here. Now, Latu, medical concerns, all right? Just straight up. Medically retired for a year. He might be the best pass rusher in this class, but the neck injury, just a red flag. That's what it's going to come down to. This might be an Andrew Booth Jr. situation when the Bills took Kyrie Elam in the first round, and myself and many people were just pounding the table for Andrew Booth Jr. out of Clemson. Medicals didn't meet their satisfactory level, not just the Bills, every NFL team that picked in the first round, because he was a first-round talent coming out of Clemson. Medicals didn't stand to whatever. Vikings get him in the second. I don't even know if Andrew Booth is really contributing in the NFL right now. It was 1 year, 2 years. Wait, was that the same year as Kyrie Elam? Anyway, you get the idea. Medicals, my point is, sometimes just straight up take a guy off your draft board. Latu, I don't know. I kind of am surprised he's still here in the simulation. Don't be surprised with the Bills. Just take him because it's 28th overall. The upside there. He might be the best edge rusher in this class. Newton and Murphy, the number 1 and 2 defensive tackles. Mafia, again, we talked about most of these picks. This is kind of justified. If you look at this board, you got the number 1 and 2 defensive tackles still on the board at 20, 22. Mafia, I know we all want wide receiver round 1. If Johnny Newton's there at 28, I'm running to the podium. I'm just going to say that. Nate Wiggins, Clemson, another good player. 9.44 athletic score. He's a guy that fits what the Bills want to do. He's another injury guy, though. So I don't know. Let's see what happens. Let's let it play out. There goes Latu. All that talk about Latu, and then the Eagles take him. There goes Wiggins. They're really going to make me take Johnny Newton in this. I can't take Byron Murphy. Remember, he's off the board for me. I've already drafted him in the first round in a mock. So if this is not Newton, there goes Murphy. All right, you know what? For mock purposes, let's pretend that was Johnny Newton. Okay, you guys didn't just see that. That was Johnny Newton. Johnny Newton went to the Cardinals. Murphy was already off my board. Okay, this is not real. We're gonna have some fun here. All right, so let's pretend that 27. That was Johnny Newton. Because that is a rush to the podium. Guys, partly, Johnny Newton's not falling to 28. If Johnny Newton falls to 28, the Bills are taking him. We're gonna be a little more fun here. We're gonna pretend that he's off the board. Let's pretend I already took him in the first, and let's look at some of these trade offers that we've got. So, holy cow, Jacksonville really wants to get up to 28. Now, something that you got to keep in mind with these trade offers: some of these teams might be trying to go up for Johnny Newton, so these might be a little rich. That's a lot of picks to say no to be honest. But no first rounder. I'm kind of like, meh. Again, 4 picks, 49. Do I want to trade back 20 spots and get an 80th overall pick this year? A second? No, it's not really worth it for me, especially not with Cincinnati. This one to me is interesting because Mafia, I've said a lot that I think there's a lot of value in the second and third rounds of this draft, particularly at receiver, but also at other positions of need for the Bills, corner, safety, defensive tackle. I did not think I was going to do a trade in round 1 of this draft. It's hard to say no to this. We're going to accept Carolina's trade. I'm going to take a screenshot of the terms so I have them. And we're going to move back. Wow. I didn't think I was going to do this. So interesting in that the Panthers were trading up for a center. Okay? Jackson Powers Johnson. Everyone that doesn't want us to take a center round one thinks that's not a sexy pick. And it's funny to mention Johnny Newton didn't go in either of the picks. Kool-Aid McKinstry went after that. All I'm going to say is you might be against us taking a center round one. If we trade back of 28 and Jackson Powers Johnson, the number one center prospect in this class, ends up being a franchise center, and let's just say, I don't want this to be the case, but let's just say that the Connor McGovern experiment to center, David Edwards left guard experience does blow up in their face, you better believe, oh boy. Someone is commenting best player available. So in that scenario, I think probably Jackson Powers Johnson is the best player available, offensive center. And, they could very well go that route. I just will say this because I have done some research on JPJ. He's the top center prospect in this draft. I don't know if he's worth a first-round pick. Now, it's a late first-round pick. It is technically a position of need. They could very well go that route. But the Carolina Panthers offer of trade back, what was it? We get the first pick in the second round now. So you avoid that first-round contract. It's a little less committal. You can still get a really solid player. And we got another pick in the 60s. And we had to part with, I think it was 128 overall. So really only trading back 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 spots total. And you get that extra 65 overall. First pick in round 3. You go from not having a pick in round 3 to having the first pick in round 3. Mafia. Come on. Beautiful trade. I don't care that it's out of the first round. Deal with it on Thursday night. All right, let's see how the first round goes. Adonai Mitchell, Johnny Newton, Xavier Worthy. Fuck, I want Xavier Worthy. I was really hoping he was going to be there at 33. All right. That sucks. Oh, I really wanted Xavier Worthy at 33. Okay. That was what I was hoping was going to happen, but they called my bluff. The Chiefs did. That's part of the risk of trading back. Look at this. So the Chiefs end up with Xavier Worthy, the fastest man in combine history. More picks to trade back from Carolina. No, Carolina, I'm not going to do that again. We're going to take the first pick in round 2, and we're going to take a look at what we got. So Penix, no. Bo Nix, no. Quarterback. Keon Coleman. I just don't like him this high in round 2. I know there's some people that think that this guy's a first-round pick. I like the player. I just don't think it makes sense for the Bills here. That's what I'll say, all right? We've seen Ladd. He's off the board for me. Okay. Troy Franklin. I cannot believe that the Texas wide receivers went 30 and 32. That really fucked up what I wanted to do. Dennis Gill is commenting, what about the wide receiver from Texas? Well, both just went to the Ravens and the Chiefs, respectively, which Mafia, that's the fear in trading back. I think that really is. That's the biggest I got in my face moment that I could have, And Johnny Newton, I know he was off my board. Whatever, Here we are. And Leggette's off my board, too. Let's see who we got. The Mafia's going to hate me for this. I can't believe I'm doing this. I'm drafting Tyler Nubin. Okay. Mafia. Safety round 2 is our first pick. Everybody take a deep breath and realize what we've just done. We've traded back and we've acquired the first pick of the 3rd round. Tyler Nubin, in this simulation, is the best player on the board that's not a quarterback, in my opinion. He's the number 1 safety in this draft. He's a guy who I have been hesitant to pick. I don't like him at 28. In a trade back scenario where we're getting another pick and we're getting the number 1 safety in the draft out of Minnesota, he's an elite processor with 2 high and single high capabilities, turnover generation ability. The numbers are not going to wow you out of college, all right? Don't love the 3.72 raw athletic score. But when I say McDermott guy, I can't really emphasize that enough, okay? High football IQ is going to be a factor in the run game, okay? Tyler Nubin, 6'1", 205, really nice size for a safety. He's a little lean. I wish he had, they say so, sports a strong, lean frame with excellent proportional length. And I think that's where someone like me might look at this overview. And I love that I'm losing viewers because I just took a safety with our first pick, which I was not planning on. And I didn't mention the addition of a guy like Mike Edwards. That was someone that I mentioned as a strong, or meant to mention as a strong addition this offseason. I'm not trying to take away from him, or Taylor Rapp, or DeMar Hamlin, or even Cam Lewis, who they brought back. But Tyler Nubin, trade back, first pick of round 2. You're not giving him that first-round contract. Let's look at some of the weaknesses. Explosiveness, while great, isn't quite quantifiably elite when instant recovery is needed. Long speed is closer to average and elite, which can limit range on the chase. Guys, to me, these are weaknesses that stop a player from like this from going in round 1 to 15th overall, that stop a safety from going in round 1. He's still a really good safety prospect. He's a safety, though, and that's why he's available at the top of round 2. That's kind of the running back of the defense, in my opinion, in terms of how the league values them. I like Cooper DeJean, Terry G. Krause. He was gone. Let's go over the simulation one more time. Let's see who came off the board. I traded back. I gained, in trading back, the first pick in round 3. And I moved back. Didn't affect our current round 2 pick, but I got the first pick in round 2. 28 down to 33. Okay, these are the players that went who I passed up on. I don't love this. I was planning on getting one of these guys with my second. That was my draft strategy, I guess, was getting either A.D. Mitchell or Xavier Worthy. I don't love that the Ravens and the Chiefs got them. That's not an easy pill to swallow. How are we going to stop that? We're going to put Tyler Nubin over the center of our defense at safety, and he's going to help cover those guys, and he's going to be our pick. Tyler Nubin. Welcome to Buffalo, baby. All right, so that's our first pick in round 2. We have another one coming up. Pause. And I promise it's going to go quicker than this, Mafia. Okay? 50th overall. We're at 60. Let's see who's on the board. Oh, God, if he was not off the board for me, Xavier Legette would be screaming my name. I love Polk, too. Okay? I like Kitchens. Those are guys that we've drafted, though, so they're off the board. Malachi Corley, a guy I really like, who I think could be there at 60 overall. Jetpack wearing juggernaut. That's hysterical. I haven't read this. I've done my own research on Malachi Corley. I haven't read their overview of him. That's hysterical. Jetpack wearing juggernaut with elite attack explosiveness and angle erasing burst. He's a guy whose name, like he's not, I don't have him in my top 10 wide receivers, but this wide receiver class, you guys are going to hear this, Mafia, is deeper than 10. Like, there's probably going to be 15 gone by the end of round 2. And Malachi Corley, if he's on the Bills, I'm telling you what, that's a guy to get excited about. Route tree in college was relatively simplistic, raising questions about variability. I'll say this, Mafia. One thing that I take into account when I'm evaluating these players, their route tree is something that I have down my list of what I really want to see from them coming out. Because I think a route tree is something that can be developed. You've seen guys like even Deebo Samuel, who is such a playmaker when the ball in his hands, develop more of a route tree over time. Curtis Samuel, current Bill, a guy who, uber athlete coming out of college, coming out of Ohio State, but a guy who I feel like has developed more of a route tree over time. Malachi Corley still on the board, a guy who I really like at 60 overall for Buffalo. Peyton Wilson, I love you, but if you didn't have that injury concern, if this guy falls much farther, we got our other pick at 65. I might even trade back up into round 3 again. We'll see. All right. Anyway, let's resume. Oh! It was almost on cue. Oh, 3 wide receivers. There they go, Mafia. No. Jalen Polk, he's off my board. Oh, we're going to keep moving. I'm not taking Roman Wilson. There goes Peyton Wilson. There goes Bo Braid. Roman. Not trading. No. All right. So let's see what we got. Penix is falling. Jeez. This is not too hard of a decision for me, honestly, Mafia. And I'm going to get some comments on this. We're going to go D-tackle. We're going to go Chris Jenkins out of Michigan. I think he's the best player available. Jalen Polk is off my board. I like Zach Frazier. He's not going to be here at 42. He's an offensive center, Mafia. I just do not see him being there. You know what, though? He fell to us, and I don't think that should... He is the best player available. He's an offensive center out of West Virginia. He's the 42th overall prospect. Actually, 42th. Oh my goodness, 42nd overall prospect via an NFL Mock Draft Simulator. He is probably going to go early second, and I think he's a trade up candidate. You know what? The fact that he fell to us, I'm going to take it because I got screwed over enough in the simulation. We're going to take a win when we see one. And Zach Frazier, you're going to be a Bill. And you know what? I think we can get Chris Jenkins maybe at 65, which would be nice. Let's see this. Okay, so really quick, let me justify this pick. Center, Zach Frazier, okay? Zach Frazier, while he is a center and played a lot of center at West Virginia, I do think he can play a little guard. That being said, I don't think I'd want to really move him from center. I think you bring him in. Connor McGovern, he's your, I think, starting center to start camp. If David Edwards struggles at left guard, I think that's when you start to explore see how Zach Frazier out of West Virginia is looking. Come camp, come preseason. And then if you're like, hey, let's give this guy a shot, let's start him at center, I think that's your play. And then you move Connor McGovern back to guard. Appreciate the two of you that are still rocking here with me. We're going to have this post after the fact. Zach Frazier, center, 60th overall. Reject. Bada bing, bada boom. Chris Jenkins, defensive tackle, Michigan. Okay, so our top 3 picks are in, and we have not had a wide receiver. The Mafia is going to hate me. Promise I've got some things in mind for you all. Okay, Chris Jenkins, defensive tackle, Michigan. Let me spend a little bit of time on this. So obviously national champion. Freak athlete. We know that the Bills value that. Okay. Versatile, I think, is going to be defensive tackle, and best projection is defensive tackle in a 4-3 scheme, obviously what the Bills run. I think that right away he's on the field on early downs. I think his run defense is excellent, Chris Jenkins. I think he's already got the makings of a solid run defender at the next level. His pass rush moves, he relies on too much of that freak athleticism at times. But I think you put him in a defensive line room with Ed Oliver, with Daquan Jones, with Austin Johnson, who they just signed. You know, they've got some guys in that defensive line room already. You get a little younger. You get a guy like Chris Jenkins. That's funny. So we've had the first pick in round 3 and the first pick in round 2 with my trades. And we have not had, I went too far. And we have not had a wide receiver selected by the Bills. I promise. It's coming. It's a deep wide receiver class, Mafia, okay? We can still get wide receivers if we don't pick one with our first 3 picks. Let's let this keep moving, because I have several wide receiver prospects that I have in mind that I'm going to let the board fall, and as soon as I start to see that they're available, I'm going to make a move to get them. Jalen Polk, there you go. Ricky, oh, fuck, I wanted him so bad. Oh, some of these have just been crazy timing with these receivers going that I really want. That's not to fear. We've got some other names. I'm taking a look. I'm going down the list because I want to make sure I don't miss out. Yeah, good. Okay. Let's resume. Let's let the 133 is our next pick. 133. Let's let the board fall a little bit. Javon Bullard, safety, Georgia, love him. I like Walker, but nowhere near where we're picking. Okay, pause. Running back, tight end. Hassan Smith, I think that's going to be another one that's an injury thing. I like Kalen Bullock. The DUI man himself, Tavondre Sweat, falling way down the draft boards as a result. Burton is an interesting case. Guys, I'm just going to say this. First-round talent from Jermaine Burton. That said, a little bit of a head case, all right? I don't know, man. I don't think that's a guy that the Bills target. I don't think you want that when you're trying to establish culture. But he's a beast. I'll tell you what. Don't be surprised. It would be kind of I don't want to say desperate move by the Bills if they went Jermaine Burton, but I'm telling you, first-round talent. Look at that raw athletic score. Effortlessly warps coverage angles. He was really good at Alabama. He was solid at Georgia. I'm telling you what. Whatever team gets him, there's the weaknesses. He is lean. I don't like the lean guys. It's part of the reason I didn't love Troy Franklin in the first necessarily. Xavier Worthy's another one of those ones. But yeah, let's see. I don't know. I'm going to let it... If he falls to our pick, we're taking him, I think. I don't think he'll fall that far, but we'll see. There goes Sweat. Classic going to the Bengals. There goes Mason Smith, too. Round 4. Here we go. This is where I want to make some moves. Where's Thrash? Jamari Thrash. Love him out of Louisville. He's a name I was looking at. I don't think he went yet. Where is he? He better not have went. I'm going to lose it if he did. I like Makai Wingo, too. Defensive tackle. There he is. 126th overall. Where are we picking? 133. I'm going to move up for that. I'm going to move up for Thrash. If I have to. I like Dwayne Carter, too. Damn, all these guys going that I like. Jacob Cowing, another guy I really like out of Arizona. Might be Steve Smith, I think, called him the best route runner in this class. Nice pickup for the Chargers in round 4. So this is where Mafia, this is where I think Brandon Beane, and this is where if you're new to the draft, you start to have a sense of urgency. When I do think now Jamari Thrash is now the second, maybe the best wide receiver up now behind Jermaine Burton, right around there. Now you start to consider trading. You know, I think if you're Brandon Beane, let it fall a little more. He might fall all the way to, there goes Burton to the Colts. So the Colts get the head case. There you go, Noah. All right, Philly, what do you got for us? Our first trade. Ooh. I'm going to give us 133. I want to move up to 120, and I'm willing to give them 200, 160. Let's see. Woohoo! I'm surprised they took that. Jamari Thrash. All 5'11", 188 pounds of you. Welcome to Buffalo. A wide receiver. Woo! I took a wide receiver. Sorry, Mafia. That was maybe a little bit too much, but wide receiver. All right, I'm sure a lot of you are waiting for that. All right, Jamari Thrash out of Louisville. Guys, this is one of those depth guys in this class who has a ceiling of a wide receiver 1, okay? Explosive athlete. I also, for the record, I promise this was not the route I wanted to go when I did this mock draft. I would have much rather, my ideal, easiest, solution is Rome Odunze falls to 12. You trade up for him and whatever. You got the X receiver solved, and then you address everything else throughout the draft. This is a deep wide receiver class, though, Mafia. I'm hoping Brandon Beane and his scouting department is doing research on guys like Jamari Thrash, okay? A guy who has stellar zone awareness and effortlessly retracts his strides to sit in open spaces, okay? Separation machine, good hands, versatile weapon that can be used in motion and work the slot or the boundary, okay? So day 3, part of what goes with day 3, Mafia, in my opinion, is you're trying to find guys with versatility and you're trying to find guys who have a high ceiling, okay? And that could maybe be the reason they're available in round 4 and beyond, day 3, is because they've had injury history or they've had Jermaine Burton situations. That's just kind of the game. Jamari Thrash, he's not going to wow you with, hand strength. Here's you go. I was looking for just, immeasurables. Average size, 188 on the lighter side. He's going to be an older prospect. This is one thing I disagree with the simulation. They put this in for every older prospect. They're like, going to turn 24. All right, in December of his rookie season. So he's not even turning 24 until December of his rookie season. But that's a weakness in their eyes. It's like, okay, whatever, man. There's a lot of prospects that have that. Jamari Thrash, enough said. He's our pick. We trade up for him, part with 2 picks, use a little bit of that capital, get a player we like. And what is he? Jamari Thrash, I think he's the best. Malik Washington, I like, out of West Virginia, 5'8". Enough said. I don't think that's what the Bills are looking for. Okay. There you go. Thrash. Cool jersey, too. I would get a Thrash jersey. All right, so now I traded away 2 picks to move up in the 4th. 8 overall picks for the Bills. I think that's comfortable. I think that's kind of where they would be okay being. Getting that wide receiver in round 4. There's other wide receivers available. We're sitting at 144 now. Reject. Okay. This kid is a monster. Jared Wiley, 6'6". I haven't taken him in a mock yet. I think this is the place. Based on how this draft is falling. Okay, so everyone's probably like, tight end, what are you talking about? No offense to Quinton Morris. Jared Wiley comes in right away, and he's that Darnell Washington type prospect as far as a blocking tight end. TCU, 6'6", they say here. And then they say, I Googled him, and he's allegedly 6'7". So, yeah, it's not a question of whether or not he's a good blocker or not, but how good he'll become over time. So if, he's ranked 11 spots ahead of this. Let me just make sure there's nobody awesome that I do like Javon Baker, too. Coming soon. It's a week away. That was a middle finger. I like Javon Baker, to be honest, but I feel like we can't take another UCF receiver. Sorry, Gabe. I like Tyke Smith, too. This is kind of crazy. Jared Wiley's the pick. Okay, blocking tight end. That doesn't mean that Quinton Morris doesn't still make the roster. I know they signed him to a 1-year contract extension. I also know that doesn't really mean much in the case of if you see a prospect you like in round 5 that brings a 9.3 raw athletic score. He's 6'7" allegedly, 250. No, they said 6. Here we go. They correct themselves right here. I didn't even see that. So we're gonna make Wiley the pick here in round 5. Boom. I like that a lot. All right, so let's pause real quick. Needs that, or not even pause. I'll let it run through until it gets to our pick. I'd say running back, linebacker depth, special teams. I mentioned some of those guys we signed. There goes Luke McCaffrey to the Chiefs. Classic. 163. This is our second pick in round 5, right? Yeah, Jared Wiley is round 5. So this is our second pick in round 5. Edge, I didn't mention. I'd love an edge or a corner would be nice. This is a deep corner class. Devonshire, I like. Come on, you guys don't have write-ups for these guys? I'll talk about them. It's fine. This is one thing I don't love about the simulator Mafia is don't feel bad to scroll down far. If it's not high on their big board, don't be deterred. Did not mean to click. I don't have anything for anything. I want to show some of these guys that I like. I'd love if they had Sion Vaki. Honestly, another safety. Oh my goodness. I'm doing it. I don't care. This is a reach, and I'm fully aware that it is. Well, what do we pick next? Maybe I don't have to. 205? 204. He's not going to be there. I'm taking him. I don't care. All right, so Sion Vaki. Let's talk about Sion Vaki. I'm going to admit that's a little bit of a reach in round 5. All right, Sion Vaki, safety, Utah. Okay, played next to Cole Bishop. He's different. Sion Vaki, two-way player. So he's a guy that and this is where I don't actually think it's that much of a reach, because I think if he's even your 5th running back on your depth chart, you're okay with that. I mentioned in later rounds, that versatility. So Sion Vaki is a safety for Utah, but can legitimately play running back in a pinch. I think he won some honor, had a crazy game this past year at running back. So not to go too far into Sion Vaki, but I think the fact that he just gives you that, the Bills at this point on day 3 are looking for guys that can make their team. Maybe some special teams value there too with Sion Vaki. Versatility, I honestly don't hate that at all at 163. It's a little bit of a reach given the rawness, and he's still got to figure out parts of his game, especially as to be a true safety that you could rely on in a depth situation. But in round 5, maybe a redshirt rookie year, I don't hate Sion Vaki there at all. Again, I know I had to scroll a little bit to really find my guy there in round 5, but I'll take it. Thank you if you're still watching this live. Appreciate you. This is giving you guys a good idea, too, of some of these prospect names. We're in round 6, so this is officially, I don't want to say no man's land, but we're reaching here. Oh, I wanted to maybe get him. Isaac Orendo, really nice running back prospect out of Louisville. Honestly, a guy that maybe I would consider at 163 and then Sion Vaki later, but nonetheless, I didn't make that decision. Just being a dumbass. Still looking for a running back, maybe. I like him too, George Halani. No edge. And I liked Sundiata Anderson out of Grambling State. Oh, that would have been nice. They have a write-up on him? No. Damn it. All right, let's see. I think we're going to go Jarius Monroe. All right. Yeah, let's see. I like him, but Can we do better? All right, we're going to go Jawar Jordan. Okay, Jawar Jordan, 244th overall. So, again, it's technically, I'm picking him 40 picks above where this simulator has him ranked. Jawar Jordan, though, why do I like Jawar Jordan? Okay, smaller back, okay, but this is the 6th round, and I'm looking for versatility. And the versatility that he brings, Jawar Jordan out of Louisville, I did not realize that I took Thrash and Jordan, so I took two Louisville players. That's kind of fun. Jordan brings the pass catching ability that we don't fully know if James Cook has. And I think Jordan is a guy who probably is RB3, because I still think Ty Johnson having several years under his belt in the NFL experience would probably be edging out for RB2, but who knows? Maybe Jordan comes in as a nice training camp. Jawar Jordan out of Louisville. He brings some of that pass catching ability that I think is still kind of up in the air for James Cook. So I like that pick. Jawar Jordan, had to dig a little bit. There's your running back, Mafia. And a guy who I think could maybe do a little bit on special teams. All right, let's see it. Who's going to be our Mr. Irrelevant? Still some solid players left, honestly. Guys that probably won't be. Nice. Okay, so I think this is our last. Oh, I wanted him to. Fuck. I've had so many times where guys have gone right before him. I guess it's the draft for you, but. Oh, let's see. We're basically pulling at straws here, guys. Mafia. I'll be honest, a lot of the guys that are left on the board here are probably going to go undrafted, so I don't know a ton about them. How can you not go kicker just for the shits and gigs? Cam Little. I think he's the number 1 kicker prospect. Let me check. I don't think another kicker went. I'll be honest, I don't know a ton about him. I know he's the number 1 kicker prospect. I know we're having fun here, though. I didn't see anybody else that I liked here. Cam Little, kicker, Arkansas. They have nothing on him. That's going to be the pick in the 7th round. Just to give light a little bit of a fire underneath Bass. He was high enough on the big board. Yeah, Mafia, we're going to show you our picks in just a second. We did a little bit of moving around. All right? And I know we didn't end up with a wide receiver until pick 120. Let's show you like this. Okay. I'm going to be honest, Mafia, I fucking love that mock draft. I'm trying to get... Okay, so let's break it down. Safety, center, defensive tackle, all before or at pick 65. So the Bills, in this mock, I have us going from picking 28th overall, 60th overall, and then I think they're down to they're out of the 3rd round. They don't have a 3rd round pick. In this simulation, I have us picking 33rd overall, which is the first pick of the 2nd round. One of the last picks in the 2nd round at 60. And then the very first pick in the 3rd round with Chris Jenkins, I believe. I think that was the first pick in the 3rd round. If it's not the first pick in the 3rd round, it's very close to that, right? So safety, offensive center, defensive tackle, Michigan, right? Jamari Thrash, Louisville, pick 120, trade up, part with a couple late round picks this year, got your wide receiver, Mafia. Something too that should be mentioned. I know everybody's really worried about the wide receiver room. If you had Curtis Samuel, Khalil Shakir, Mac Hollins, maybe Justin Shorter, maybe KJ Hamler, and a promising young rookie like Jamari Thrash on top of a key player at safety, maybe your starting center, and a rotational, at worst, defensive tackle in Chris Jenkins, I would hope that the Mafia would be pumped with that outcome. And then at 144, I have us taking probably the best blocking tight end in the class, and Jared Wiley. Okay, more help for Josh. A crazy, versatile, talented athlete who can give you a lot of different things in safety, which really should say safety / running back, Sio Nvaki. Then I have us taking Jawar Jordan, Jamari Thrash's teammate out of Louisville, running back at 204. That one to me, again, best player available is what I was trying to stick to. I really think he gives you the most. And I know we are looking for a wide receiver 1 and not just a wide receiver, lane B24. Let me address this. And Jacob Kloss says Thrash is really good. Thrash has wide receiver 1 ceiling, like straight up. I know we're getting him in round 4. That's part of the beauty of this wide receiver class. And I think something that if the Bills don't take advantage of that, we might be kicking ourselves a little bit. Get a Thrash. And that's not to say that you can't still take a receiver in round 1, but you guys saw the way the board fell. I don't love A.D. Mitchell or Xavier Worthy at 28. I love them at 33. They went right before that. You know, it's just kind of how it goes. And then I have us taking Cam Little, kicker, Arkansas, kind of as a joke at the end, but what are you going to do? Honestly, Mafia did not go into this being like, going to come away with the kicker, going to come away with the punter, just kind of way the board fell. So there's my mock draft. Again, Mafia, I'd like to identify and consider myself I would love a wide receiver round 1. I would, but it's just going to depend on how the board falls. And you guys saw, I improvised, and it was Johnny Newton there at 28 overall in this simulation. I personally just do not see that happening. If he's there, Johnny Newton, defensive tackle out of Illinois, I think the Bills run the podium. In this scenario, they trade back to the first pick in the second round with Carolina. They get that pick, and then they get one of the first picks in the third round with Chris Jenkins, going from not having a third-round pick to having the first pick in the third round, moving back, I think it was 5 spots. Again, part of the bummer in that is you miss out on Xavier Worthy, on A.D. Mitchell, but you get the best safety by far in this draft class in Tyler Nubin. You get this was obviously already a pick that we had. Zach Frazier was the best player available by far at pick 60. He's not the best center prospect in this draft. It's ironic, too, that we traded out of 28, and Jackson Powers-Johnson, the best center prospect in this draft class, goes at 28 then to Carolina. Kind of fun. But that's how it went for me, Mafia. That's how it went for my mock draft. I'm going to have this posted to the account after the fact, okay? I'm not going to post this long live stream to the account. Ordinarily, I would. I went a little bit longer than I hoped to, starting at 6:15. I don't generally like to post live streams that go that far beyond. What I will do, though, is I appreciate you all watching, okay? If you were one of the lucky people that got to watch this live, I'll have this posted in my normal mock draft format for this account after the fact, and I'll have it, designated live mock. I had to think on the fly a little bit. For Buff Mafia _716, guys, my name is Buffalo Burn. I want to thank you so much for being a part of the live mock that I've got in front of me. I'll have it edited up. I'll probably have it posted tomorrow, okay, because I got some plans tonight. But if you were lucky enough to watch it live, shout out you. And you know what? I'm going to post it to the account anyway because I don't care. It might be long. People can deal with it. People are going to probably get to this part and be like, you just said you weren't posting it. I'm going to post it to the account. I'm going to say watch for the picks, and I'll have the picks coming to you and you're on our normal mock draft format at a later date. All right, so Buff Mafia _716. Hopefully it posts. I might have some issues actually posting because it's so long. John Kipfer, if you're just joining late, don't worry. I'm going to have the outcome of this mock posted at a later date. Be sure to check us out on X, guys. I've been posting a lot more on our X account, okay? It looks good, Burn. Thanks, Trout Waters. Check out our X account if you're on X, if you're on Twitter, if you're not already, okay? Maybe download the app. Maybe just join to follow us because I'm telling you what, man, we got some good content coming out on X. Link in bio for that. You know what? I went flip-flop. I'm not going to post this hour-long live stream of me picking. I'm going to summarize it. I'm going to put it in a post with some highlights for you all, okay? Because I'm a big highlights guy. I can't, unfortunately, post this live video and then highlights. Be sure to follow us on X if you are not already. And then our YouTube, Buff Mafia _716, same handle. We've been lacking. We haven't been posting there. I'm just being honest. I've got enough on my plate. I really would appreciate and value if someone is looking for some maybe experience in the content creation world, most specifically Bills-related stuff, reach out, DM. My DMs are open. Would love to get you involved with that. I can definitely help you. I will say that I'm kind of reaching my limit here with the Instagram and the X full posting. I'd love some help on the YouTube if anyone's available or around. Just another look at my live mock. For Buff Mafia _716, my name is Buffalo Bird. We're going to have this posted after the fact. Take it easy, guys.